My childhood is composed of two things: pirating anime and Nintendo. And with the new Mario movie and Zelda game breaking records, it's about time to cover the rise of Nintendo. Nintend's humble beginnings actually started in the 1800s in 1889 as a card gaming company, specifically through the game Hanafuda, which was okay. It was decently popular, I guess. The company was founded by the great Fusajiro Yamauchi, who tried to capitalize on the unban of the card game Hanafuda. Yeah, for some reason the game was banned during the time. He would set up his operations in Kyoto, Japan, and the card game era for Nintendo would last all the way to 1956. Before Nintendo would grasp their magnus opus, they would go through many other business ventures like taxis, selling instant rice, and even a chain of love hotels.
Hey, yo!
But let's just say none of these ventures would actually take off, and the card gaming business around this time would also begin to drop, with sales dropping in the 1960s. But something that I would come to admire about Nintendo is that they would never truly give up, as they would enter many other industries before they would reach what they would be known for today. Eventually in the 70s, Nintendo would start to dip their toes into the world of video games. At first through buying the rights to distribute the video game console Magnavox Odyssey. But very soon they would start to make their own video game consoles through the Color TV game. And yes, that is the name of their first video game system. But compared to what they would eventually make, it was quite primitive. But it was a good start. Good job, good try. During the 70s, they would also start to make their own video games with little titles like EVR Race. But it would be in 1981 with the release of Donkey Kong, created by the legendary developer Shigeru Miyamoto, that would change the path for Nintendo forever. Around the same time, Nintendo, specifically Gunpei Yokoi, were working on a new system called handheld video games. But at the time, that was crazy, allowing you to play games on the go. Their first rendition of the handheld would be known as Gaming Watch. The console, not the game. And fun fact, Nintendo would be responsible for the modern D-pad we know today. Yeah, Nintendo has been around, man. They're old. Eventually, all of this would accumulate in 1983 with the release of Famicom in Japan, or what the rest of the world knows as the NES. This would open the floodgates for video game systems for Nintendo. And since then, they would start to pump out legendary and revolutionizing gaming systems throughout the years. From the Game Boy in 1989 to eventually the Switch in 2017. And also, weirdly enough, within this gaming system revolution that Nintendo was having, they managed to produce this weird feat of engineering called the Virtual Boy, which was Nintendo's first attempt to break through into virtual reality. It was a good attempt. I mean, it was a decent attempt. It was an okay attempt. Okay, it was a pretty shitty attempt. Throughout all their consoles, the Nintendo Switch would take the top spot in console sales at 130 million sales, while the Nintendo DS would take the top spot in handheld console sales at roughly about 150 million sold. And with all these gaming systems being created, you're gonna need some games to play on it, no? Well, good thing Nintendo is quite a jack of all trades and was also able to produce many other games for their systems throughout the years. Some of the most popular gaming franchises that Nintendo established throughout the years were Donkey Kong, Mario Bros, Legend of Zelda, Kirby, and eventually the also popular Pokemon series. But by far, the Mario franchise would take the cake with a total of 830 million total sales throughout its entire existence. But the most sold game in Nintendo history was actually Wii Sports, which makes sense because Wii Sports pretty much came with every Wii purchase. And I'm not gonna lie, I went crazy in Wii Tennis back in the day.
Up in the air, and when oh, jeez.
But as of right now, there is a new game on the block. That's right, Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which sold 10 million copies in the first 3 days of its release, which is the fastest selling Nintendo game in history. And if we're talking about Nintendo stats, Nintendo's currently worth about $51 billion, making it the 318th most valuable company in the world. So Nintendo, from humble beginnings in 1889 as a card game company, to a global conglomerate owning million-dollar franchises that has taken the pop and gaming culture by storm. Like with the new Super Mario Bros. Movie that would break $1.3 billion in the box office recently, making it the second highest grossing animated movie in Hollywood history. Nintendo still has relevance hundreds of years later, and definitely more so compared to the past. So I guess all we can do now is just to watch what happens next, in the next 100 of years.